Okay.
John.
Test.
Yeah, it's good.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
So, as y'all can see, we are extremely late by 45 minutes. It has been a test tonight. So
maybe it's some new seats. Maybe it's a new studio.
Maybe we should just stay over there.
Yeah, but whose idea was this?
It hadn't been yours.
Probably.
It was mine. I was wanting to show off my wife's beautiful handiwork tonight. Just kind of mix it up.
I was in that too.
Jamie and my wife's beautiful handiwork because they're the artistic crew. I can't do any of this. I mean, I might can throw some paint on the wall.
You bought this.
I did. Yeah.
Oh, so we
split it down the middle.
I did.
Like right there.
Right there.
So I own this half. You own that. I'm kidding. But anyway, so we appreciate your patience tonight. It has been a bear getting this thing online. We got in, all the sound was reset by no fault of anybody's. And then all of a sudden we couldn't get Mr. Davey Sapp in. So that was an act. So, and I believe it all is for what he has to share tonight. And it's supposed to be really good. He switched everything up on us. So, and he said he added some bombs in there tonight too. So,
oh goodness.
So this is probably why we're having the problems we're having and the dilemmas that we're having is because the enemy doesn't want this out and he don't want to expose what's about to get exposed. What's about to be exposed. So we have not sound checked his presentation. We have not sound checked any videos. So we ask you guys to continue to bear with us and just look forward to what's going to be said. So before I bring him on, have you got anything?
No, we're ready to go and ready to hear Mr. Sapp.
Perfect, guys. If you could share this out for us, and if you go to speakinglifelovewell.com or in the App Store, The Remnant Movement, you can download our app and never miss an episode. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Mr. Davey. Mr. Davey, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I've just got to get us all on the right scene.
Yeah.
Well, right there he is. Hold on a second. There we go.
There we go. I heard that.
Yeah, in a second. So, man, how's things been since last week? I know there's been some new developments. Also, to share this with you real quick, did y'all hear about the school shooter scare in Ware County?
Yes.
There was a gunshot that went off. Davey, just drop off.
I am losing y'all on my end. I don't know who's y'all are frozen right now.
Yeah, so now we're losing connection.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, we're losing everything.
We'll get it.
So we're down.
No, we're not down.
I can hear you. We'll try to keep going.
I can hear you.
Your butts, friend.
Myself.
But you can't hear Davey.
And I can hear you.
Test 1, 2, test.
I hear him over there.
Huh. Guys, sorry for the issues this evening.
Now y'all just cleared up. Baby? Yeah, you just cleared up.
Okay. Well, man, jump right into it. I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know how long it's going to be good. Jamie can't hear you. I can hear you. So let's just roll with it and let's see what happens.
All right. So yeah, I was talking with my wife just this afternoon when we got home, and I said, Jen, I said, I felt led last session to kind of take folks through how to quickly find this information, how to track these prophecies and what's happening with world events in our nation. And I said, I should have done it last week. I said, but I'm going to do it this week. So we're going to start out a little different tonight. I'm going to take you through, I'm going to share my screen and just show you how to do a search for world events that may match up with Julie's prophecies. And then I'm going to read a couple of prophecies to you about Hollywood, or actually one about Hollywood, and then a recent prophecy I'll read to you. And then we're going to watch Julie's prophecy. I think it was yesterday or today. And then we might call it a night after that, because that'll take 20 or 30 minutes, but we'll see how we do.
Real quick,
All right,
Davey.
I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, let's get you in and let's get a sound check on it real quick. Make sure everything's good.
All right, share tab audio. Select the tab. Let's go do an entire screen.
And guys, depending on what things look like tomorrow night or maybe Friday, if you're okay with it, Davey, we can maybe get an appointment set aside to pre-record everything that you're going to show tonight because of all of the issues we had, and maybe I can just upload it and throw it into Restream so it goes live everywhere. So, like, folks can see your material. If you got time to do that sometime this week.
Yeah, we'll talk about
it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to add your stuff in here.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So, I've been going through giving out prophecies and prophecy truths and things like that. And I'm sure folks are wondering, where do you get this information from? How do you track it down? Well, here's how it's done. All right. You can do this on your phone as well. But this is Julie Green Ministries main site. Can you see the mouse? Yeah, you can see it. All right, good. All right. And so you're going to land here on the home page, and you're going to go over to prophecies and teachings. And you're going to go down here to prophecies, and you want to go to, you can actually click here and read some of the latest ones. But if you want to do a word search, you just click right here under prophecies where it says, please click here. And let's say something happened on, I don't know, you saw something come across a headline and it was about secret societies. All right. So it does a little search, right? And so there you go. It searched for that keyword, and it gives you a little excerpt of what the prophecy is about, titles the prophecy, and kind of shows you where that word is found in the prophecy. So if you want to read one of them, obviously you just click on it, and that is the prophecy that contains the word secret societies. Okay, so that's how you do it. You can also use, if it gets into a long prophecy, you can use the find. I'm not sure where it's at here. I think it's a function button, or you can read the whole prophecy. All right, we're going to switch over now to Hollywood, and the film industry will be shaken to its core. Now, this is not even, I don't think this is in the presentation that I prepared, but I wanted to read this one because it is very relevant to what's happening. So it says, I, the Lord, this day always have the final say for this earth. Your enemies, along with the whole world, will see and know this when I move my hand, remove them and remove all their systems. The world will know who is on my side and who is not. During this time of great separation, darkness will hit your enemies like never before. But at the same time, my children in my body will become brighter, so the lost can follow the light and be saved. Yes, it's all about the lost and bringing them into my kingdom. My heart is for mankind. I want to save as many that can be from eternity in hell. I did not make hell for man. I made it for Lucifer and all of his angels that were cast out of heaven. When the curse came and man fell from his place of power, the choice became theirs, heaven or hell, life or death, blessing or cursing. I gave man free will. Before the fall of Adam, they never would have chosen death or cursing. They didn't even know what that was until they believed the serpent and ate that fruit. I never wanted man to live this way, but I did see the end from the beginning. I saw what would happen upon this earth, and I had a plan to save you before I even made the heavens and the earth. My son decided before the foundation of this earth to come as a man, to experience earth as a man anointed by the Holy Ghost so he could live in order to die, to destroy that curse, take back the keys to hell, death, and the grave, and to destroy Satan's power over mankind. Yes, the power is yours, not Satan's. You are more powerful than he is. And that's something that we have to recognize. We are more powerful than Satan. The words that we speak have implications because of the power and the blood of Jesus Christ. They have implications into the spirit realm. People have to recognize this. We've been taught that all of our lives, all right, through sermons, so on and so forth, but it is so true. All right, so we'll keep going. Yes, that power is yours, not Satan's. You are made more powerful than he is. He just makes things appear real through your 5 physical senses to get you to think you are weaker than him. He is a liar. Rise up, resist him, and all who are with him. They are nothing in my sight or in the sight of a child of the Most High God. All right. Let's see here. In this great shaking, I am exposing and destroying the secret societies that have controlled and taken the whole world hostage. Yes, they have infiltrated your governments, all of your business, schools, banking systems, churches, and everything else they could sink their teeth into for control. They did it. They infiltrated every walk of life for this hour to take the world down for complete world dominance. They shook their fist at me and said, there is no God, because they were gods. Now recall what we showed about Yuval Noah Harari in session 2, I believe it was, about how he said we're going to go above or beyond the God of the Bible. Okay. I am opening up the biggest can of worms on all secret societies and everything they control: media, governments, economies, Hollywood, the sports industry, the FDA, Big Pharma, the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, your voting systems, of course, Wall Street, the Federal Reserve, and the IRS. They are the UN. I am destroying everything they touched. They destroyed your education system, colleges, elementary and high school, daycare systems, anything they could to destroy the innocence of children for easier mind control. They prey on little children for many reasons. Watch as all the rat's nests are exposed. Hollywood, I'm coming for you and everything you stand for. You bowed your knee to the Illuminati. Well, you'll see how well that worked out for you. They controlled you. They blackmailed you. They destroyed your lives. Anyone who wouldn't bow to every command, to every actor, every director, producer, every single person that bowed your knee to this demonic system, I will expose all of you. Video and audio recordings will blow up everywhere at one time, showing without a shadow of a doubt who was taking part in the disgusting rituals with the children and the trafficking. Epstein was not just an island, as that sick industry is still going on today in many locations all over the world. Hollywood, you are the biggest fundraiser to this lifestyle, but you are second to the government of the United States. Yes, my children, you will see why I have to destroy the swamp and all they stand for. The film industry will be shaken to its core, never to regain and sustain that filthy lifestyle. Hollywood, you acted like gods to help control the narrative. You used movies and TV shows to warp the minds of the people, to numb them of what your plans were for them. You are doing behind closed doors what you are portraying on big screens. You made yourself idols. And along with your disgusting award shows, you have become cultic, satanic rituals for the whole world to see. I am bringing down the sports industry to the same thing. They hide behind their sports for control and money to gain more power and influence, power and making idols and gods out of sports stars. I will empty your stadiums in this hour for what they stood for. I will instead fill them with my glory and revival. Watch my children as every walk of life of your enemies touched, perverted, destroyed, and weaponized. I will remove it all. What you once thought was cute and innocent, I will expose and annihilate it in front of the world. What comes to mind? Cute and innocent. Disney. Watch Disney. They are finished with their mind control, their news networks, TV shows, movies, their sports, their markets and governments. They were enslaving the world for their financial control. Like I've said before, I am doing a clean sweep to restore my body on this earth. For this hour, my glory, miracles, signs, and wonders like never before. I am flooding this world with my goodness to show the world that I am love and that I love mankind. They will see who I have been all along. I am not what any religion or some man told you that I was. I am destroying that narrative. Watch the Pope and the Vatican. Major news will break forth. I'm destroying their narrative and the one world religion they were trying to push in this hour to destroy my church. And just recently, you've seen where the Pope is trying to combine Islam and Christianity. I believe that was a few months back. Resistance is growing. A movement has started. Your enemies can't stop. Get up, all my children. Resist these laws and take back your freedoms. It's your time to stand and win. I made you victorious. No longer allow anyone else to dictate what you should have or not. They don't have that power, so stop giving it to them. My hand is against them all, and I never lose. So stand your ground, and you shall overcome. I am perfecting you in this hour, standing and growing your strengths to levels you never thought possible. It's your time and your victory. So take it now, saith the Lord of hosts. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to play a live with Julie. So this will be your sound test. Let me know if you get it, Josh.
All right, I'm going to get to this prophetic word.
Yes, sir. We're good.
Okay. All right, here it comes.
And
that's today.
This is called Another Coup is Coming. Another coup is coming. I heard this prophetic word on September 21st, so just a couple days ago. And it says, woe to those who have hijacked this nation and the White House. Woe to you who think they control the presidency, the people, the laws, the news cycle, the entertainment industry, the ones who think they control the money markets, not only the stock market, but also the purse strings of this nation or any nation. You've had your unlimited spending, your budgets that were a joke, that had hidden agendas and corruption along with hiding your criminal activities in every one. You truly thought that money and the American tax dollars were for you to do whatever you wanted and to get away with it. You padded your pockets with blood money and bribes for the globalists' agenda, no matter the cost. All of you in Washington or in any governmental seat, your secrets are going to be released that will cause violent shaking to shake you right out of those seats of power in those positions. Another coup is coming, and not how you would expect. A coup of a greater magnitude. Your enemies will make against their own. They are willing to turn their own in to save what is left of their establishment. Desperation is growing. And the more the polls turn against them as they see their puppets slip farther and farther down in popularity, they see the writing is on the wall.
Talking about Kamala.
No amount of cheating will help enough in this time. Their target is a down ballot if they couldn't get their circus puppet to perform. The more she malfunctions, the more they will look to other races. My children take authority over every seat, congressional, Senate, and the presidency. Take authority over all. Many of my children only care about winning one. When you need to take them all back, don't leave any out for your enemies to steal. As I've told you before, your enemies are working on stealing the House of Representatives once again. They're preparing for an impeachment if necessary. They're working on the Senate to improve the impeachment. They're looking for more indictments against President Trump. And if they can't do the unthinkable, that's ending my David's life, which they don't have the power to take. They are trying so desperately to find anything to incriminate him, to get rid of him by throwing him in prison and throwing away the keys. This is part of their plans. I am telling you these things to tear them apart with my words and with my authority that you have been given, says the Lord. Kamala, Harris, your lies, manipulation, and deceitful ways will soon catch up to you. Secrets your puppet masters have on you to keep you under their control. You believe that they will never let these secrets out. Well, I will tell you, all your secrets will be released. You think you're safe because they picked you to replace the Biden. Finally, you have your safety and power you so desired. You thought if they used you as their puppet, you would finally be accepted, and there'd be no denying you now. You are George Soros's puppet and one of his favorites because of the favors you did for him. But no matter the favors for him or anyone else, you are not respected or accepted. George Soros is no longer pulling the strings, so you are no longer safe where you are. Soon there will be no denying their hatred for you. As they hate the Biden and they threw him by the wayside, you are next. You will be discarded as a failure with shame and embarrassment, and betrayal will be the end to your political career. Treason you will be sentenced with for no matter where you try to hide and no matter if you are hiding behind another mask. Kamala. Your days in the spotlight and in politics are coming to an end, saith the Lord of hosts. An impeachment committee is about to be fully put out in the open. The exposure will be explosive and catastrophic for the left's narrative of my David. I am sending documents and videos pouring out to prove the farce impeachments and the fake insurrection. My children, get ready for the truth that will pour out like a flood. Many in this nation will bring a shock to, especially the ones who have blinders over their eyes. An awakening is coming of who the traitors are in this nation. And I am putting a spotlight on them and exposing them to the world. Your enemies will cause great diversions and distractions to get people's attention off of Washington and the hatred of so many will have because of the death, corruption, and financial chokehold they've had over the masses. My children, a Red Sea-like moment is coming where you will see your enemies where they are. And an unprecedented event will take place, and then they will be gone. I will show you how many actors were actually in DC and how many of the old guard was gone. But they still wanted the illusion they were still all there. The old guard in DC will be rocked and shaken to their core. And evidence is coming that cannot be hidden and they cannot just be distracted from. So the land of my eagle, a great shaking is coming to wake more up, and a shaking is coming to remove those in power. My children, pray in this hour for more to turn to me and away from your enemy. I'm pouring out my spirit, so receive it, take it. Watch the miracles and the answered prayers take place like never before. Your enemies are trying to bring the destruction to you, but I am bringing a great restoration. So hold on, the time of great shaking is here, saith the Lord, your Redeemer.
Okay. So I usually wait until the end of the presentation to do some of this, to kind of show how to get the information, what else to look for. But again, I just felt really led to show folks how to do a word search, what site to go to. Here is Julie's Rumble channel. She typically publishes a video every day, except for Saturdays and Sundays. However, I have seen one on Saturdays before. So you can check Julie out there. Now, a lot of what I do as well is I follow several other channels, but one of the main ones is called And We Know. Some of the folks watching this probably already know this channel, but what I do with this channel is, this is a Christian-based channel. However, I have not heard prophecy mentioned on this channel. But what I use it for is it essentially reports the most recent events that have happened in the news cycle that the mainstream media is not reporting on. Okay. And I watch these videos and I compare it to what prophecy has said. And you can see over time, as you're listening to prophecy every day, through not only Julie, but Robin Bullock, Hank Kuhneman, and the others, Timothy Dixon. You're triangulating those prophecies, and then you're watching channels like this, Christian based, that will actually bring you some of the news, and you can tie these events together. And then what will happen is a spiritual picture will begin to take place, and you will start to look at things in a whole different manner. I want to read one more prophecy to you, and then we'll get back into the presentation. But this is for the folks that may be on the fence about some of this. As much of the prophecy proofs and in the buildup that we've shown, even Trump's presidency through Kim Clements, the world leaders talking about a one world government, all of that formulating, we built that through the first 5 sessions. But I want to read this prophecy. This is June 4th, 2023. It says, "My children, I have said in my written word regarding the end times that it would be like the days of Noah. Can't you see you are living in those days? People are living selfishly and carelessly in these days, not listening to or caring about the warnings that have been given out. The words that I've given to my mouthpieces all over the world are warning that something big is coming. Just like when he warned about a flood and people mocked and laughed and refused to listen. I have warned and told my children and the world about these shakings that are coming. Shakings will change the world, societies, nations, governments, churches. They will change the body of Christ and its role on this earth. Do you realize how much change in a quick period of time? Do you realize the shock it will bring to the world? It will startle people and shake them to their core. Just like when Noah was shutting the ark doors, people started running toward it, but it was too late, and the flood destroyed the earth and all who would not listen. I have promised I will never flood the earth with water again, and of course I am keeping that promise. But I am flooding this earth with truth. I am also flooding the earth with my glory that will cleanse and heal what the enemy has been trying to destroy. There will be Red Sea-like moments. And what did you just hear in today's prophecy repeated? Okay. What I'm reading to you is from 2023. There will be Red Sea-like moments. There will be an Exodus greater than the original. These shakings and this change are right at the door, but many people are still refusing to listen. Pray for those who are asleep. Pray for those who refuse to awaken out of the darkness. Pray for those who have blinders on their eyes from religious doctrines and will not listen to what you are saying. Pray for those who are bound. Pray for them to be a part of this great awakening. My children, these shakings will be so great. They will shake nations apart. They will destroy the evil that has held them captive. A shaking like no other shaking is coming. So be prepared and get my word, because no one but me knows the day and the hour. A great flood of truth is coming, a flood that will heal, cleanse, and deliver. So get ready for my flood, saith the Lord. Then it goes on to talk about some detail. Bobolinsky, I say this name will be in your news for a shocking reason. Hocus pocus, I say this phrase will be in your news for a surprising reason. And it goes on to say, a great backlash is coming for the party of the blue. Now, remember, this is 2023. A backlash so great because more and more people will see the truth about who they really are. They were never for the people, but for themselves. The party of the red is also being shaken, a shaking so great that it will expose many. It will show who was really on the side of the right to do the right thing, and you will see those who were really there to help the dark establishment took over this nation. That establishment is being torn apart in front of this nation and the world by my outstretched hand. They will not continue to tear my nation apart. They will not continue to enslave it. They will not continue to try and fundamentally change this nation. The deep state, the dark establishment in DC will be no more. Talks about watching China. Says a surprising military move is about to take place. Yes, military moves that no one saw coming and no one thought would be done to save the nation. It's all about to come out. All that has been done where no one could see. Great exposures are about to break regarding Bill Gates, George Soros, Jeff Bezos, and all of those who, like Klaus Schwab and Yuval Noah Harari, have tried everything they could to control this world. They are about to be hit in a way they never thought possible. A laptop with emails, videos, phone conversations are coming to prove their plans against my nations, the United States, Israel, and my body. I told you, shock and awe are coming in a very big way. The Clintons are about to fall. Watch the Clinton Foundation be totally exposed. Bill and Hillary proof is coming that will not stay hidden or covered up. Treason is your end, and soon all will know it. High crimes and misdemeanors, this will be in your news. Poll numbers are about to be exposed for what their numbers truthfully were, which was not what the public saw. Talks about a major IRS scandal. And talk about the ends with the old ways are coming to an end. Evil is coming down, and my glory will fill this earth like a flood. Get ready, my children. Open your hearts to this great outpouring and these great shifts and changes because it's all about to take place, saith the Lord of hosts.
Hey, Davey. I'm finding something interesting. As I've over the years watched Julie Green and listened to people like Hank Kuhneman and Robin Bullock, people like this, and I've seen prophecies being released, and like you're dating some of this back to a couple years, and I'm listening to I'm kind of like playing the devil's advocate here with people that kind of want to believe, but they're on the fence. Do I believe this? Because all of a sudden you've got gapping involved here, and you've got some prophecies that took a year, 2 years, 3 years to actually like show up in the news or come to pass, or something like that. And we know if we talk about biblical dating, there's prophecies that yet has not yet been fulfilled, and they're thousands of years in the making. Then you have some that took 400 years, and the list goes on. Like Matthew 24 is full of prophecies that still hasn't happened. But but what I'm seeing is this window of fulfillment is decreasing. It's getting smaller. And I was just asking Joshua, like, how many days until the election? And he said, what, 42?
42.
42 days. And so some of this, you would think, Davey, that some of these prophecies that's coming from people like Julie Green, the door for these to actually be fulfilled are narrowing, as she is seeing. And it's pretty remarkable that somebody like that sees so much. And I had someone ask me today, Davey, like, how can she see so much? And I'm like, I really don't know, because I see things, I have dreams, and I have visions, and I hear words from the Lord, but nothing like this downstream that this one woman is getting. And I've heard people say, Davey, like, why just this one woman? And again, she's not the only one that's talking, but she's talking more than anybody else.
And, from the 2020 election to now, I believe, just from what I've heard on here, I have never watched her much. But Hank, I have a lot. But her, man, I mean, she's hitting some things that are pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Even when he was reading about a scandal in the IRS. I can't go too deep into it because I don't want to be portrayed as throwing out advice. But I mean, but I've been talking about it for a while.
Right. I guess, David, my question, because people are asking, and I have people that are around me, like, do you see this window of fulfillment narrowing? Do you think some of these must happen prior to the election date? Because if people see the fulfillment of some of these words, it might swing them in a direction when it comes to electing the next president of the United States.
Well, I'll answer it like this. Robin Bullock, I believe back in 2021, he made a great analogy, and he's basically saying something very similar to what you're talking about. He was talking about, if I recall correctly, how Old Testament prophecies, things like that, to hundreds of years sometime to be fulfilled. And he's saying, what he was saying is what we're seeing now in this time is basically a funnel, okay? And the distance between the top of the funnel and as you go down the funnel is time, from the prophecy given to the prophecy fulfilled. And I believe because we're coming up on something that is going to be so shocking that timeline has shortened. Now, I believe you also asked, will some of these prophecies have to be fulfilled before the election? I'll give you, my answer is, I don't know. It's just as simple as that. Some of these I think should be fulfilled before the election, but it's like I've said in other sessions, God's ways are higher than my ways for sure.
Right.
And every time I think I've got this timeline figured out, I'm wrong.
Right.
The only thing I can do is do what we've done in the last 5 sessions, is to show what has been said and then show the proof of the fulfillment or a building up to the fulfillment.
Right.
And let folks dig in every day, pray every day, use their spiritual discernment to figure out what that timeline means. Now, do I think these prophecies are going to be fulfilled? Absolutely, I do. I've seen too much proof for them not to be fulfilled. I know that it sounds like I dodged the question, but I simply don't know the answer to it. And if I did, I would certainly tell you. My gut tells me, just like I think it was 2 sessions ago, between now, the election, the inauguration, and I would say even up 6 months after inauguration, or possibly before then. Here I am putting timelines on again, right? And I still don't know, right? But I'm just telling you what I'm feeling on the inside, right? It's going to get bumpy. It is going to get very turbulent. What you're seeing with Sean Diddy or Sean Combs,
No,
is just the beginning of exposing Hollywood. It's not just Hollywood that he's attached to. Obama's involved, political figures.
There's some we're spiritual leaders that are involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you heard about this, but the one spiritual leader he was attached to, which it's all in the news. I mean, would you care if I actually?
I don't know if I would just throw the name out there.
Okay,
but people can research it.
But they can't find this pastor now.
This pastor that you're referring to has stepped down. He has stepped down from the pulpit.
Right, but I actually read an article today that was location.
Wow.
Yes. So I followed this guy for years just because I thought he was very charismatic and I liked it. And some of the things he said, there's always been some type of controversy around him because he came out of a movement, I think a Jesus only movement earlier in his career. And then he finally denied that, well, he had a change of heart or mindset. But anyway, yeah, I was actually reading that today. I didn't know he had disappeared, but that he had resigned and stepped down from his church because he was named in this lawsuit with
Yeah.
P. Diddy. So,
And two, in that same article, it says that he unfollowed him and all of his, his Instagram and all that stuff
yeah.
too. But if you keep reading, it sounds like it might have been the same article or very close to it. But I mean, if you kept reading, I mean, I think the actual disappearance of this pastor is at his own choice. I don't think anything's wrong with him because it didn't actually alarm anything. But but yeah, I mean, like, he can't be found right now.
Right.
So
Well, I'm glad you answered those questions, Davey, because I mean, people that are new into the prophetic realm, they're listening to this, and you're building an amazing timeline of how these words, these prophetic words, these words of knowledge, connected to what's happening in the news and how we're seeing a lot of this come to fruition is simply stunning. That God is in the details, and He's watching this very closely. That He has a plan for America, that He has a plan for His people, and where the enemy has set up these dominions and these strongholds over the years, and how they have wanted to control the American people, or not just the American people, but the world, and how they set the from the economics to the religious choices. Just a lot of things, a lot of our freedoms have been slowly being taken away from us, and people don't even realize it. But it is going to be interesting, Davey, like you're saying, what's going to happen over the next probably 6 to 7 months. I've read some behind. I haven't read lately back, from Rick Joyner. And Rick Joyner made some bold statements starting about 3 years ago, maybe even more. He was writing a daily briefing, so to speak. And a lot of this, what you're talking about, because a lot of people don't follow Rick Joyner. He was the person who started Morning Star out of close to Charlotte, South Carolina. But he started outlining some of this stuff of what we're hearing. Even things like through Julie, he was saying some of these things, but nobody was listening. And part of it was, he was like, we'll get to a place in America where he says a civil war is going to break out. And when you think the Civil War, you're thinking boots on the ground. You're talking about people that are enraged. And for a lot of us, we took that as a spiritual thing, meaning there'll be a spiritual war, which there's always been that. And there always will be that war until the end. But he kept referring to that people will at some point rise up for what they believe in and stand firm for what they believe in and what they feel is truth. And here we are, Davey, at the precipice of a truth campaign that people have to start determining what the truth is. And see, a lot of people have, and even probably all of us at some point, we had to auto correct ourselves because we believed some things that were just not true, because it's what we thought was truth. And if you believe something for so long, even if it is an untruth, you'll believe it to be a truth. But as truth from God, from the Word of God, from prophetic words that are being brought in through the Spirit of God, realizing what that truth is, then I think at that point you'll see an uprising of people standing for that truth. Because a lot of people, starting back in 2000, when the pandemic was at the beginning of it, people were storming the streets and burning down cities and buildings, believing a truth that was actually a lie. And so here we are again, about almost 4 years later, or 4.
You're frozen on my side. So,
So
oh, there you go. I got you back.
guys, sorry. So just real quick, this has been a lot of the fight tonight. Is I don't think we've ever lost any internet in here since we
Never,
built the
ever.
studio.
Mm.
So we've lost it now 3 times. Like that time, we lost it completely. Like it blacked out.
Yeah.
So, if you could just finish what you were saying, just the end part, because I think we got it all except for the last maybe 20 seconds of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just closing off with what was absolute truths, and how they had, had referred back to some things that Rick Joyner had written in a blog, up to 3 or 4 years ago about Civil War and people standing for a truth, and I dated it back to the beginning of the pandemic, where people were storming these cities and trying to overthrow these police precincts and burning down buildings. And see, and he's like, is that really true? Or people just showing that on camera? No, listen, I stood myself in Washington D.C. I was right there on Pennsylvania Avenue, and I walked as close from me to that door over here, which is probably I don't know, 15, 20 feet from a line of officers with shields holding back the crowds that were between them and the property of the White House. And they were they were burning things in the street. There was I think they call it the President's Church. That's right there. They had desecrated the President's Church. They were defecating all over it. They were urinating all over it. They were I mean, they had taken spray paint and sprayed some ugly things on that church.
Mm.
I mean, people were very upset, and they were standing, to me, for untruth, but they believed it to be a truth. And so, as we're hearing these truths that are come out through these prophets and through people, even pastors preaching truths from the pulpit, I think it's time, Davey, that pastors get on board with these truths. I mean, they're so afraid to bring any type of politics, and sometimes I'll say, even I am careful what I say, even though I say I'm probably gonna get kicked off. They can't kick me off my own platform,
Right.
but they can kick us off a few of these others. But it's difficult because a lot of people have different opinions. I just and I watch. This is the thing that bothers me the most, is I see a lot of believers that are what I feel are believing an untruth.
Yep.
And they're standing for that untruth. And Davey, they will vote in November, based on what they believe that truth is. And I think the hardest thing that we have to do, even you with this presentation, is somehow, and I know we can't really fully convince anybody, because they can listen to it like, I don't believe that. But the Spirit of God is going to breathe on everything that is said, everything that is posted, everything that you're saying, Davey, everything we're preaching and believing in and sharing in private places, in private conversations, as well as public conversations, that we need to wake up.
100%.
Wake up and realize, and again, it goes to what you believe the absolute truth is.
Well, and too, man, I just want to piggyback off of that for just a second. And I got this revelation today. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like 2020 was a slam dunk for Trump. Like, I just didn't feel like he was going to be reelected. Now, I didn't go out there and say, hey, thus says the Lord, I hear this from God. He says that Trump isn't going to be elected. I just felt it off in my spirit. You know what I mean? Like, there was some suspect junk about to go down. And, but like, I just kind of kept it to myself. But then this time, I'm not going to prophesy or say anything, but with 2 assassination attempts on his life, and he was spared both times, that's got to tell somebody that God's not done with this man. And he's in his 70s too, man. So like, if like, the Lord was done and you believe what you want to on this, like, God spared him, but not the guy in the crowd. But that's not what I'm talking about. Like, I believe that this is the time that we were all praying for in 2020. And now, you know what, I could be 100% wrong, but, I was just actually putting, the revelation you know, together today on my ride back, you know, from Charleston. And I was like, man, you know, I just feel like if God was done with him, you know, there wouldn't be all this hoopla.
Right.
And there wouldn't be the assassination attempts on his life. So he is ticking off, like, you know, the principalities and all this
Right.
stuff is happening to where they're coming against his life. So what's y'all's thoughts on that? Just that whole piece that I shared. Like, I mean, there's, you know, there's been 2 attempts, and, like, you know, the one was very, very close. And you know what? He was spared. I believe he was 100% protected.
Right. Well, as Davey alluded to, I think last week or a week before, and you looked it up about, there was that Kim Clement. And I guess, Davey, I'd ask you too, how much Kim Clement prophecy are you bringing in? Because he had loads of prophecy. I think we've done a few of his, but
Yeah.
into your presentations, but these attempts are significant. I think, you know, if they were recorded in prophecy somewhere, then of course, and we believe prophecy to be true, then they had to happen. They had to happen. The attempts did. I'll say this, and I'm gonna turn it back over to Dave because we're taking up his time. But
You're good.
yeah, but I know that, and there's so many things I want to post and I want to put out there, and I wish it would, God would breathe on it so that more people would see it. Even these sessions that we're having, these podcasts, that more people would see this, so that at least they could and you know, they could determine for themselves if they believe it to be true. Because a lot of people they don't know the truth. They don't even have the information. But you know, in the dreams that I've had, and I've told Davey a few of these dreams, and one was about the Resolute desk, and I won't get into it. But I'll say this at the end of that dream, and I had this at the end of last year, November or December of last year. So I had it almost a year before the election this year. So I think the Lord was giving me some insight with what could be coming. But part of this, Davey, is that, and again, I'm trying to say this in the correct way, but if it doesn't go the way that I feel like the Lord wants it to go, and again, you might say, well, will God's will be done? Ultimately, somewhere, His will is fulfilled. But if it's not fulfilled in the timing that it's supposed to be filled, then all of a sudden you've got a gap there, and you've got a, some word I'm looking for. I don't want to say punishment. It's not punishment, but you have got you've got a response to the disobedience. You got a response from it not taking place, the prophecy not being fulfilled. Again, no one's really putting a lot of timelines. I mean, I wish we could be a little more specific, and sometimes we can. But anyway, back to the dream. At the end of the dream that I had, if the woman that I saw in the dream, and this is so crazy that I saw in my dream, Davey, this is November of 23. In my dream, the White House press secretary said, "We have secured the vote, and the vote is for the next president of the United States," and it was a woman of color. And this is last year, and Biden was saying he was still running, and until 6 weeks ago, he was still running. So that tells you what I saw in the dream that Lord gave me was foreseeing what was coming. But at the end of the dream, I was in like a command post center, and these are the words: if the vote goes the wrong way, America will go into a time of darkness for 2 decades.
Mm.
What is 2 decades?
That's 20 years.
That's 20 years.
Mm.
It'll take 20 years to recover. Listen, people, and again, you don't have to believe me. And again, this is not something I'm hearing consciously. This is from a realm of dreaming. Okay, so I had no control over this. 20 years of times of darkness based on a bad decision. Based on, and listen, if you read the Bible, it happened all the time. When Israel didn't do what they're supposed to, they went into captivity. So there is a rebuttal from heaven, from God, when people walk out of obedience. So there is a response when something doesn't happen.
Right.
There is, and there will be a correction at some point. What do you feel about that, Davey?
Well, you make some good points, Jamie, and I can tell you that God keeps saying you don't need an election to save you. Stop looking to an election to save you. I'm going to save this nation. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that parts of your dream, Jamie, are true? Could be. It could be when we get to this election that they have stolen another election and Trump is jailed. I have no idea. I remember one prophecy. It was January. It was right after the 2020. It was late January, and I thought at the time, okay, it's all about to go down. I mean, Trump was supposed to come on. I think at the time it was Newsmax. He was supposed to deliver a message. It was 9:30 at night, and he didn't deliver that message. He was supposed to speak to the American people. It didn't happen. And then the inauguration happened, and we can go into all that too. I mean, there's a lot of what happened there, all right? But there was a prophecy in one part of the prophecy at that end of January said that no man will get the credit for what I'm about to do. And one thing that I've seen through all of this is how shallow my mind actually is. I cannot comprehend the complexity of what's going on here and what God has not just now orchestrated, but think about what he's had to orchestrate just in the life of Trump to be where we're at now. Of all the things that had to take place to be where we're at right now. And so
Right.
I always go back to scripture and I say, what does the Bible tell me about a prophet? It says, if a prophet prophesies and it happens, then listen to the prophet. If it doesn't, then don't listen to the prophet. Now, does that mean if it doesn't happen in the timeline that we think,
Right.
all of a sudden that's a false prophet? No.
Right.
Always keep in mind, God's ways are higher than our ways. And the more I see, the more confused I get sometimes, even though I'm seeing these prophecies fulfilled in great detail. And you say, well, David, why is it just Julie? Because it's not that I just listen to Julie. I'm showing Julie it because she is hearing so much detail that it's very easily searched and then shown the proof.
Right. Oh, I'm thankful for her, and listening to you, Davey, and getting back in contact with you over the last, I don't know, couple months has made her resurface in my hearing, in my listening. And it's between listening to her, listening to some other prophets, and getting texts from Davey at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's it's enlightening for sure. And I just want to compel people. We're not doom and gloom people, and I try not to say, well, we're going to go into 20 years of darkness, even though my dream showed that was a possibility. And then Davey, you say, well, God says we don't have to depend on an election. I fully believe that, but God's always used people, and God has saved His people out of bondage. You know, think about his own people in Egypt, 400 years before they got set free. So, and the crazy thing about is his own people is they stay in bondage more than they stay freed.
Right.
That's and they knew truth and they still rebelled against it. But I do believe, like you, Dave, I believe that this is bigger than an election. God has got his hand on people. He's got his hand on this nation, I do believe, because we make covenant with him basically through the pilgrims, cut covenant. God is in covenant with Israel, the only nation he made covenant with. And those are important things. And I think some of that, Davey's coming out in prophecy too, that who stands with Israel stands with the Lord. Who blesses Israel, God blesses them. And so, and if you read Revelations, it will come down to a handful of people, of nations. There'll be sheep and goat nations. And so I think, like you, Davey, it's going to get very interesting in the days, weeks, months, and years to come.
100%.
Absolutely. And that's probably, at least on my end, it's been a great discussion tonight. On my end, that's probably all I will share. But I have probably, a multitude of slides that we'll share in the future sessions, just going through these prophecy truths. And so, as folks are waiting for that Tuesday night discussion, do your homework.
Right.
Pray. Ask God to awaken your spiritual discernment. Ask God to show you, to connect the dots. And by all means, don't be one of those folks out there that try to find this one little thing that they don't understand, and so they throw it all out.
Right.
Don't do that. There's an element of faith during this time. And one of the latest prophecies God has said is now is not a time to walk by sight, because things are not how they appear to be.
Right.
I'll leave you with that.
Absolutely. Well, guys, it's been a tough night.
Dog fight.
It's been a fight.
Yeah.
Just to keep this on the air tonight, just to get on the air tonight was a fight.
Because we were ready by what, 7:20?
Yeah.
And we had everything built out, but it was like the sound, and then we lost internet.
Yeah.
And then the sound again.
And then Davey went and put his pajamas on, had to get redressed again.
And then he couldn't get the link. It was just like the email.
Don't go much more than a white T-shirt, Jamie. You know that. So seeing me in a collared shirt, that you must feel fairly
This is like
special.
a Zoom call from like 2020. Just don't stand up.
Well, Davey, it's been rich again, and thank you for taking the time for us, and we'll try to do better with all the connections next week. And for those who are viewing, thank you for being a part of this, and myself, Joshua, and Davey. Keep your hearts open, keep your perception open, keep your mind open to the possibilities that this is a God thing.
Yeah.
And that he's doing something, and we just need to listen and follow the path that he has for us. As Davey is connecting dots, that we see the picture coming into more of a focus of what he's doing in the earth, not just the United States, but around the world, because he died for the whole world.
Right.
And I look forward to, I don't know how many more sessions we'll have. I would say probably, 30 or 40. I'm not sure. But the cool thing, I know Davey, he's adding slides and he's adding prophecy, and this thing is growing on the back end a little bit. So, I could see us walking this into November if we're not careful, but we're going to do whatever God wants us to do.
Right.
Thank you, Davey, for taking the time and all of the endless hours and days and probably weeks of research and study you've put into this. It shows.
Starting at 4 a.m.
Yeah. And we're very thankful for you.
And guys, real quick, just a quick little PSA announcement. We are now on Rumble. If you go search channel Remnant 21212, is that correct?
That's correct.
The first episode of this you'll see is about 20 minutes, and then the one before that's like it was because we're trying to figure out those kinks too. But as of last week and the week before, there are full episodes. But if you go to speakalifelovewell.com, there's a link for our app, or if you just want to go to your prospective app stores and you can search The Remnant Movement, and then you'll see our app pop up. Every single episode we've done from him and on this entire series is in our app.
Right. I think Davey has all those links, correct, Davey, that you can share out?
Yes.
Okay.
And to last thing that I was going to say, I love to binge watch shows and things with my wife. This is one, if you have not seen every week, go with your spouse and binge watch these, because it is some good information. Get your pen, get your notebook, and write down these notes and write down these things that these dots that he's really connecting, because it's not by chance, by any kind of happenstance that like these things connect the way that they do. And me, I've said it when we first began, and I'll say it again as we close tonight. It's I never thought it was too far fetched, but I thought maybe sometimes people reach. You know what I mean? But after doing a preview with Davey before we started all this, just the way that he presents it the lengths he goes to, and the detail that he brings in, and just how particular he is with the pieces that he pulls, and his sources are absolutely convincing. So, and he actually convinced me. So I encourage you, just go back and binge watch all 6 of these, and because I promise you that you're going to get a lot out of it. So,
yes.
All right, gentlemen, is that all?
That's all on my side. I've
Cool.
enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thank you again, Davey. And for all those watching, see you next Tuesday on the War Zone.